Right now, 10,000 children are sitting in classrooms that are cracking at the walls, leaking through the ceilings, and slowly giving up on them. The paint is peeling. The desks are splintered. When it rains, lessons stop. When the wind blows, dust fills the air. In some rooms, students huddle together to share a single outdated textbook. In others, teachers write carefully on broken chalkboards, knowing that half the class can't see. For these students, education isn't just about passing exams. It's about endurance. But today, that story changes. Because today, we are tearing it all down. This is the story of what happens when a community decides that good enough is no longer good enough. When crumbling walls are replaced with possibility. When forgotten schools become the foundation of a future no one thought possible. This is not just a renovation, this is transformation. The schools stand in neighborhoods often overlooked on maps and ignored in budgets. For years, they survived on temporary fixes. A patched roof here, a donated desk there. But time is relentless, and eventually, survival is no longer sustainable. Engineers walked through the hallways and shook their heads. Structural cracks ran deeper than expected, electrical systems were outdated and unsafe. Internet access was either unreliable or non-existent. In a world moving at digital speed, these children were stuck in analog silence. The stakes were clear. Without intervention, another generation would fall behind, not because of talent, not because of effort, but because of infrastructure. So the first decision was bold. We would not repair, we would rebuild. Demolition began at sunrise. Walls that had stood for decades came down piece by piece. Dust clouds filled the air as classrooms were reduced to rubble. It looked destructive. But sometimes, destruction is the first step toward creation. Parents gathered at the gates, watching carefully. Some were anxious, some were hopeful, most were both. For them, this school was more than a building. It was memory, it was routine. It was community. And now it was gone. In its place, a blueprint. The new design wasn't just about stronger concrete. It was about stronger opportunity. Architects reimagined every square meter. Natural light would flood every classroom. Ventilation systems would keep air clean and cool. Flexible learning spaces would replace rigid rows of desks. Libraries would become innovation hubs. Science labs would finally have real equipment instead of drawings in textbooks. But the most dramatic change would be invisible. High-speed fiber internet would run beneath the floors and behind the walls. Virtual classrooms, global competitions, online research databases. The digital divide would shrink, not someday, but now. Technology, however, was only part of the plan. Sustainability would power the future. Rows of solar panels were installed across rooftops, capturing sunlight from dawn to dusk. Energy storage systems ensured power even when the grid failed. Rainwater harvesting systems reduced waste. Gardens were planted to teach agriculture and environmental science hands-on. The school would not only educate students, it would teach them how to build a sustainable world. Construction moved quickly, but carefully. Local workers were hired, injecting income back into the community. Students watched from temporary learning centers as cranes lifted steel beams into place. Some of them pointed and said, "That's going to be my classroom." Months passed, foundations were poured. Walls rose, windows were fitted, wires were laid. Solar panels shimmered in the sun. The skeletal structure slowly became a living space. Inside, furniture arrived, ergonomic desks, interactive boards, computers loaded with modern software. Books filled shelves that had once been empty. But transformation is not only physical. Teachers received new training. Digital literacy workshops prepared them to integrate technology into lessons. STEM programs were introduced. Partnerships with universities and organizations expanded opportunities for mentorship and scholarships. The goal was not simply to give students better rooms, it was to give them better horizons. And then came the day that mattered most, opening day. 10,000 students lined up outside gates that looked unfamiliar. Clean paint, wide entrances, landscape paths. Solar panels gleaming overhead. Some were quiet, some were laughing nervously. All of them were curious. The gates opened, they stepped inside. For a moment, there was silence, the kind that happens when expectations collide with reality. Their new classrooms were bright and spacious. The air was cool. Screens lit up with welcome messages. The Wi-Fi connected instantly. In the library, students ran their fingers along rows of brand new books. In the science lab, they stared at microscopes they had only seen in pictures. One student whispered, "Is this really ours?" Yes, it was. Teachers began the first lessons of a new era. Instead of copying notes from a fading chalkboard, students collaborated on interactive displays. Instead of imagining experiments, they conducted them. Instead of reading about distant countries in outdated atlases, they connected live with classrooms across the globe. Confidence began to replace hesitation. Attendance rose, participation increased. Parents reported their children coming home excited, not exhausted. Grades improved, but more importantly, ambition expanded. When infrastructure changes, mindset follows. A safe building tells a child they matter. A reliable internet connection tells them they belong in the global conversation. Solar panels overhead send a message that their future can be innovative and responsible. The transformation extended beyond school grounds. Local businesses saw increased activity. Community meetings were hosted in multipurpose halls. Evening adult education programs began. The campus became a hub of growth, and the ripple effect continued. Students who once thought their dreams were limited by geography began to think bigger. Engineering, medicine, software development, environmental science, entrepreneurship, possibility multiplied. Of course, challenges remain. Buildings alone do not solve inequality. Technology alone does not guarantee success. But when you remove the barriers that hold potential back, something powerful happens. You create momentum. Today, 10,000 children are no longer trapped in crumbling classrooms. They are learning in spaces designed for the future. They are connected, they are empowered, they are prepared. And the true transformation is not measured in square footage or megabytes per second. It's measured in belief. Belief that their education is worth investing in. Belief that their community deserves excellence. Belief that their future can be brighter than their past. When the final bell rings each day, sunlight reflects off solar panels. Laughter echoes through hallways that no longer leak when it rains. Laptops close, books slide into backpacks. And students walk home carrying something heavier than textbooks. They carry possibility. What began as demolition became declaration. What looked like rubble became rebirth. And for 10,000 children, the moment they walked into their brand new lives was not just about a new school. It was about a new story. A story where the stakes were high and the transformation was higher. This is what happens when we stop patching the past and start building the future. And this is only the beginning.